Have you ever wanted to get into Naruto but told yourself, that's too many episodes, I don't have enough time for that? Well, we're gonna complete that sucker in less than 6 months. How's it going, guys? Foul Place here, and today we're going to be discussing how to get through Naruto in less than 6 months. Now, this may be a daunting task at first, but don't worry, we got it all planned out for you boys and girls. It's going to be great, it's going to be awesome. But before we get into anything, go ahead and smash that like button down below, and don't forget to click the subscribe button as well. YouTube tells me that over 80% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. Let's go ahead and fix that so you can stay up to date with all the latest content. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, starting into week 1, we got the prologue, which we get to introduce our main character being Naruto Uzumaki. You probably already knew that. But we also get introduced to characters such as Sasuke and Sakura. Sakura is useless, fuck her. But we also get introduced to characters such as Iruka Sensei, who is an amazing father figure, love him. But we also enter into the Land of the Waves arc, which really shows what Naruto is really about. And we also enter into the Chunin exam arc, which you meet a bunch of other characters that are in Naruto's class, being dubbed the Konoha 12. Now, moving on into week number 2, you have one episode that you have to skip. You gotta skip episode 26. Now, episode 26 is really just a bare bones filler episode. Do not watch it. In this arc, you also get introduced to Orochimaru, who is the main villain of the first half of Naruto. And alongside that, you also get introduced to his accomplice being Kabuto, who is a very important character moving on forward. Now, moving on into week number 3, you get introduced to Jiraiya, one of the legendary Sannin, who is being told to train Naruto in how to perfect his chakra natures, because at this current moment, Naruto cannot control his chakra. These episodes range from episode 44 to 65. Heading on into week number 4, we wrap up the Chunin exams, and we head into the Konoha Crush arc, which is one of the saddest arcs in the first half of the series. This is really one of the hypest moments, in my opinion, of the first half of Naruto. You get to see the Third Hokage in action and just whooping ass. It's amazing. Definitely don't want to spoil you guys on that stuff. And this is also the start of the Search for Tsunade arc, which is one of the highlight moments in the whole story. During this week, you're watching episodes 66 to 87. Now, heading on into week number 5, you have a bunch of episodes to skip. You have to skip all of these episodes down below. But during this week, you wrap up the Search for Tsunade arc, and then you begin the Sasuke retrieval arc. This week covers episode 88 to 115. Now, heading on into week number 6, you are wrapping up the first part of Naruto, being the OG Naruto series. This week has a bunch of filler that you do have to skip. You have to skip the whole entire end part of Naruto, because that half is all filler. But this week does wrap up the Sasuke retrieval arc, and it begins the dawn of a new age where Naruto goes and trains with Jiraiya for 2 years and leaves Konoha. I added 2 more episodes to this week just so it would act as a clean transition into the Naruto Shippuden side of the franchise. Now, heading on into the week 7, you got the Akatsuki rescue mission, which has a whole lot of spoilers in it. Don't really want to spoil you too much, but it does have a lot of info dealing with Gaara and what he's been doing the past 2 years. But this week covers episodes 1 to 21 of Shippuden. Heading on into week 8, you finish up the Akatsuki rescue mission, and you also begin the Tenchi Bridge mission. These episodes range from episode 22 to 43. You also do have to skip episode 28 because it is filler. It's dealing with some stuff that's going on with Sasuke, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Going into week 9, you finally figure out what's actually going on with Sasuke and what he's been doing in the past 2 years. This wraps up the Tenchi Bridge arc, and we begin the Akatsuki suppression arc, which is by far one of my favorite arcs. It really gives some backstory into Itachi and really what's been going on with the Akatsuki for the past 2 years. Now, heading on into week 10, we wrap up the Akatsuki suppression arc, and then we finally enter into the Itachi pursuit arc. In this week, you also have to skip episodes 57 to 71. This is really, I believe, just an arc that relates to the movie. It's nothing plot-centric. If you're wanting to watch the movie, you can go back and watch that, but it really has no plot relevance whatsoever. Heading on into week 10, you finish up the Akatsuki suppression arc, and you end up beginning the Itachi pursuit arc. In this week, you have to skip episodes 91 to 112. Moving on into week 11, you finish up the Itachi pursuit mission, and then you begin the Tales of the Jiraiya the Gallant. Without getting into too much spoiler territory, this is one of my favorite arcs of the new era. At the same time that the Jiraiya arc is going on, we are also getting the fated battle between the two brothers, being Sasuke and Itachi. This is by far one of the weirdest fights in all of the series. This week covers episodes 122 to 143, and it's an action-packed week. You're not going to want to miss out on it. Heading on into week 12, you get introduced to the character named Pain. It's because he's experienced a bunch of pain. But Pain is one of the best villains in all of Naruto. This arc really shows a lot of character development, not just for Naruto, but the whole entire squad in Konoha. Pain Assault arc, for what it did do, it did establish a bunch of character development, but at what cost? That's some god-awful art style. But I will say it is one of my favorite fights in all of Naruto. In this arc, we get to see Naruto take on Jiraiya's legacy and learn Sage Mode, one of his mastered techniques. I ended up adding one extra episode to this week just so it would be a final wrap up for the arc so you don't carry it on over to the next week. This week covers episodes 152 to 175. You do have two filler episodes to skip, which is 170 and 171. Heading on into week 13, you start off with a 5 Kage Summit. This is an arc that is very significant to the whole story. It shows different plot points, such as Sasuke's plot points. It also shows what's going on in the current world around us. There's a lot of politics going on right here, and it shows what's going on in the world around them. But also, guess what time it is for? It's time for a war! It's gonna be war that we don't need any other wars. It's the start of the 4th Shinobi War, baby. Heading on into week 14, we got Naruto and Killer Bee being basically shipped off to a separate island to get away from the war that will probably end up costing their lives. In this, Naruto finally meets his mother and also tames the Nine-Tails chakra to be used as his own. This also has a bunch of other fights starting, such as the Gaara's fight, Lee's fights, the fights with Shikamaru. There's a whole lot of battles, too many to name, but this is definitely an arc to be watching. This week covers episodes 219 to 262. You do have a lot of filler that you do have to skip, which will be listed right down below. Heading on into week 15, Naruto and Killer Bee finally get back onto the battlefield, and we get to see Naruto and Killer Bee going at it. We get to see a bunch of stuff with Itachi. It's an amazing arc. Definitely want to be watching it. This week covers episodes 263 to 299. Now, you do have all of these episodes down below also to skip as well. Heading on into week 16, we finally get into the climax of the war. We get to learn about Madara and Tobi and all of that, Obito. We get to learn about a little bit of Kakashi's past and all of that. It's an amazing arc. I love it. It really brings everything full circle right there. But this also covers episodes 300 to 338, and these are the episodes that you gotta skip. Heading on into week 17, you finally wrap up the climax of the story. You learn about all of the stuff dealing with the Akatsuki clan, and you also get to learn a little bit about Madara, what he's been doing for the past 50-something years. It's crazy. You get to learn a bunch of stuff. You get to see the old Hokages come back. It's amazing. You're gonna love it, trust me. But I decided to add an extra episode this week just so it would end off the climax era very cleanly and smoothly. But during this week, you cover episodes 339 to 375. And these are all the episodes you have to skip. Heading on into week 18, you finally get to see the Birth of the Ten Tails arc, which is by far one of the coolest arcs. You get to see the birth of the Ten Tails, as the name suggests, and you also get to see a little bit of what Madara has been doing in the past 50 years and how he's manipulated everything to work in his favor. You also get to see a little bit of Obito's backstory with Kakashi. How did he die? Where did he die? How did Kakashi get the Sharingan? What happened during this little period of time that we do not know about? The episodes in this week are episodes 378 to 426. You have all of these episodes to skip. Too many to count, really. Naruto fixed the shit. Heading on into week 19, you get a little bit of backstory into Itachi from the light novels being adapted into the anime. They are considered canon, so I would suggest that you go and watch those. But we also start the Kaguya Strikes Back arc, which is by far one of the coolest fights animated in all of series, which is a very weird fight, if I may say. This also includes the fight between Naruto and Sasuke, the final fight, which is by far one of my favorite fights in all of the anime. You really get to see the characters' emotions and their ideals in this fight. It's by far one of the best animated fights, aside from Kakashi versus Obito in the whole series. Definitely want to make it to the end for this amazing fight. I watched it the day it came out, and I cried my balls out in history class. Congratulations, you've made it to pretty much the end of Naruto. Now, there are a bunch of side stories that I do want you to watch as well, which are week 15, which includes the Sasuke story. It's really just a light novel being adapted into the anime. It's canon. It does happen in the story, and it shows Sasuke atoning for his sins and all that he's done in the past. We also have the Shikamaru arc, so if you're a really big Shikamaru fan, definitely go and watch this as well. It's a very good arc. I also decided to include the last Naruto movie, as it is the final technical episode of Naruto. It shows basically what happened after the whole 2 years has happened, and what is Naruto's next journey. It shows the Otsutsuki clan, and it pretty much sets up for Boruto. It gives the final wrap up for Naruto, Hinata, and Sasuke and Sakura. It's a really great ending to the whole story. Definitely something that you definitely want to go and watch if you're a big fan of the series. I also decided to include the wedding arc, as it is really the wrap up to all of Naruto. It shows Naruto and Hinata's wedding and their final moments before they are newlyweds. This week covers episodes 484 to 500. Congratulations, you're finally caught up to Naruto, but if you would like to see me do more of these recap videos and try to break down the story into an easy way for you to watch, definitely go ahead and smash that like button down below, because you know your support is greatly appreciated. Also, leave a comment if you're going to try this for yourself. And hit 50 likes on this video. I'll make an easy way for you to get caught up to Bleach before the 1,000-year Blood War arc begins in the anime. But without further ado, I'm going to get the heck out of here on Foul Plays, and I'm out. Peace.